attack, fast fatal heart impact, past painful scars. In fact, I blast tasteful bars and packs. I back up my actions, fact don't ask, grab reactions, jacked attack with every word, then act with class as they hear me snap. I got nothing to lose, cause I fought and felt the bruise. Now I'm not the one confused, call the shots and they produce. I ain't lost, I'm finally loose, pick a new silver excuse. I need the views to boost me to a new abuse of being used. Everybody wants a piece now, y'all can rest in peace now. You're dead to me, so peace out. Remember, you're discreet out. Get ready for defeat now.
Alrighty. Hello everybody, this is Kirusho here. And whenever we last left off with this series, we had Izuku Midoriya. He was captured by the Resistance and put into handcuffs and chained up. Now, along with that, we went over what happened 11 months ago and exactly how he has changed. Whenever she first met him, she was told about his reputation. She was ready for him to be a merciless and heartless killer. However, whenever they showed up, he was different. After the incident where they broke into his house and had to teleport away using Kurogiri, yeah. They were all surprised. They expected to at least encounter 1 or 2 casualties. However, that guy basically jumped at Mineta and stopped a bullet from hitting him. This confused them. This surprised them. This isn't what they expected, and she was trying to convince them that is because nothing is right. This isn't how reality is supposed to be. They thought that she was crazy. However, considering the fact that the man with a 99% kill ratio of anyone who's ever faced him just let them all live, yeah. She's fairly certain that she's right. And one of them actually is convinced. Mineta, yeah. He thought he was done for whenever that man lunged at him. But that's just it. He looked concerned. He looked concerned for, well, that girl. Or that chick, really. All of them having arguments. While they head into their hideout. Or at least a resistance hideout. Now, this isn't what's going to happen next. Let's get back over to Midoriya, who he is chained to the wall, and is actually a bit more pissed off, since another person is visiting him. Katie opening the door to his cell. Now, Midoriya, he sees her, looking up, and simply just smirking, before going back to what he is doing, trying to focus, trying to make a quirk, something that can help him, even if it is dormant, or even suppressed. As Katie just says hello, Midoriya doesn't pay any mind to the girl with dark hair standing overhead. He is basically sitting in her shadow, quite literally. And she goes on to tell him that it is finally good to see him again. Really. Good? After you break into my house, after you try and almost kill me. Hey, we weren't trying to kill you that night. If anything, we're trying to talk to you. Well, I'm here now, so talk. Before I get out of here. Before that, while you still can. While you still breathe. Hey, I'm being serious. And so am I. I've already lost a few of my friends to you rebellion scum. Besides, I think I'm quite justified Oh, and we aren't? Anyways, that's not what I'm here to talk to you about. Okay. I'm actually not sure where to begin with this. So you come here to start a conversation with me, yet you don't even know how to do it. Fine. How about I give it a go? What are your supply lines? Where are your bases? How many bases are there? That's not a conversation. That's more or less an interrogation. As Shinsho tries to walk in after her just telling him to stay out of this. Him just looking a bit annoyed and telling her that he has to interrogate him. It's his job. Shinsho. Hi, old friend. How are you? I remember you. Ah, good times. Just like that time we ordered an entire roomful of men to rip each other apart. To the last man. You remember what we did to him? What we told him to do? How he did it. How he put that gun to his own head. And the fear in his eyes. As he, Shinsho, just simply mind washing him. Or brainwashing him. Since he opened his mouth. Telling Katie that she can talk with him. But exactly how coherent does he need to be? He just needs to be enough. Just, just, just let me handle it, please. Fine. When you do that, I'm gonna go real quick. Shinsho just walking away. He stepped out of this life because of one reason. Whenever the organization tried to get him out, he tried to simply leave. However, they framed his wife. They framed her by saying that she was a member of the resistance. And they locked her up. Or as he thinks, had her killed. The organization, they do one thing. They lock you up, test you for quirks, and then throw you somewhere dark. A place where you might as well be locked in a hole. Underground. And, well, it's not fun. Quite a few people are there. A lot of people the organization has had to either deal with or silence. In fact, this may have been where the resistance began. It's not only their home, but it's also where they always return to. Some try to escape. In fact, it is believed that the actual leader of the resistance escaped from this place and told a large portion of the organization about it. Somewhere around, well, surprisingly, a couple of decades ago. Now, with that being said, Katie, she doesn't really care. Simply just informing him that their conversation is going to be very, very interesting. Asking Midori exactly how much does he know about his mother. To which he doesn't say a single word. Simply just staring her down and asking what of it. Well, your mother. I'm asking because I want to know what she was like. What was Inko Midoriya like? Midoriya, actually a bit surprised. His eyes showed it for an entire, well, second. No one knows his mother's name. Outside of the organization, the only one who does was the CEO. Whenever they first found him as a child, Midoriya just telling her to stop talking and to keep his mother's name out of her mouth. Really, Why should I? How about your father? Your father Hasashi Midoriya. Hey, I told you to quit. How do you know that? My mother and my father. Tell me that, and maybe I'll let you live. Ah, okay. What do you know about your quirk? As she sits down and begins to try and talk with him, going over things in his past, trying to explain it what she can. After about roughly 10 minutes, eventually the door does open, and you do have Midori who's just sitting there, listening to what Katie is saying, as she is explaining to him Midoriya's entire quirk. He calls it all for all, but why is that exactly? Him simply just stating that he can create quirks and stockpile them. It does not matter. He did this with a large portion of humanity. In fact, he did it for an entire year, day in and day out. He was simply told that he can not only create them, take them, and stockpile them, but he can mix them into new things. That is what he does. And that is why the organization considers him to be a complete asset. To which he is simply told wrong. Her going on to state that his true ability, his true power, it is far greater than that. Telling him that it's the ability to bend reality. This confusing Midoriya. So you're telling me I'm one of our reality benders? No, actually, you're stronger. In fact, this entire world is part of your creation, part of your mind. Really. And how exactly would you know that? Because before all this started, before reality was broken apart and put back together, as she goes on saying, simply just spinning around and parting her hair to show a very large scar, telling him that the organization, they did experiments on him for a very long time. They put Midoriya into somewhat of a coma. They're not too certain. Whatever they did to him, they did to everyone. Class 1A. Does that ring any bells? No, it does not. What are you talking about? Okay. Well, I guess I should tell you. Whenever they rewrote you, they implanted parts of your brain into me. They didn't get everything. They missed a few, actually. Then, they rewrote reality again. I remember because I have some of your memories. The reality benders do too. Have you ever actually seen any of them? No. In fact, no one knows where they're even kept. Really? So, where do you think they would be? If you were to bend reality on a whim, where exactly would you hide? Why? Because this all started with you, brother. What? Yes, you're my brother. I am Katie Higgs, daughter of Madison Higgs and Hisashi Higgs. What? Midoriya is saying, trying to move forwards, yelling that he is not her brother. She is not his sister. He would know. His father was a dirty piece of scum for the rebellion. Her just saying no. Their father was kind. He rewrote reality. And He did something. In fact, she's not even supposed to exist. How would you feel knowing that? Your entire life is a lie. In fact, I think you and I finally do share something in common. Everything in your life is a lie, Midoriya. The organization, your quirk, your abilities, your title. In fact, you wanna know what we were? We used to be heroes. In fact, I do think there's one thing that can snap you out of this. Whenever you were 4 years old, from what you told us, told everyone, from what I saw, there was a piece of trauma in your mind. Something you didn't want to remember, that I can see a glimpse of. You were in a house. I felt it. I was there. I saw your mother die. You brought her back. Then, the man who walked towards you, the man with white hair, was scary, frightening, terrifying to a child. He tried to take your abilities, tried to take your quirk. As soon as he grabbed onto you, you wished him away. But it was not what you wanted. You wished him and everything around you away. Ripped apart and destroyed reality. The man's name was All for One. Who? Do you know the name All Might? Now, all these pieces in Midoriya's head, his mother, Inko Midoriya, a kind woman who died when he was at the age of 4, All Might, then All for One, all these pieces beginning to click. And Midoriya, he sees a little bit of it. Him trying to think, his eyes darting all around the room. Before, one thing does happen. He is there, in a white void, looking around. As things begin to form, there are floating cups, then a counter forms, then a room. And then he turns his head, seeing the current situation. There's people. There's everyone. He's not too sure who that is. All Might. The words leaving his lips, rolling off of his tongue. He knows this name. Why? All for One. The scene being set. All for One and All Might fighting. Before, All for One, he is able to smash All Might away and get to Midoriya first. As soon as he threw his hand on Midoriya's head and tried to take this power, take this ability, Midoriya rejected him. He caused so much power to flow in All for One at once, All for One exploded. Midoriya's abilities erasing everything around them. His mother, All Might, All for One, even Midoriya himself for a brief second. Before he was turned back. Brought back. Why was he brought back? How? Midoriya can understand it. He thinks he understands it for a brief second. He came back. Right now. Right here. So he can bring himself back to life. He's manipulating reality right now. Now, with that being said, this is all going on within Midoriya's mind. And that little capsule in his head is released. Midoriya immediately beginning to spasm and seize on the ground. Before, he tries to create a quirk, tries to create something. He simply dies while spasming on the ground. Before, he resets himself. he was able to turn back to before he died. And he kept himself under wraps, telling Katie that he gets it, he sees it, and he doesn't like it. Simply just standing up, as the chains all fall. And she stares at him, completely shocked. Midoriya is not supposed to be able to do that. He's going to... Midoriya then simply just vanishing. As you do have everyone else, who heard the chains, simply just looking as Katie, she just looks at the ground, where the chains were, where Midoriya used to be. And she picks up the pair of handcuffs. Bakugo running in and just yelling at her, what did she do? To which she says nothing. She didn't do anything. She made him remember. Remember parts of it, I think. He's scared. He's scared? I call bullshit. You can't scare that man. In fact, he's not even human. You're right. He's not. He has the power of a god. And he pretends to be a man. That's what frightens me. Because I've seen what he's done. And you're going to see it. My brother is back. Brother? That man stopped being your brother whenever you tried to kill him. I told you we didn't try to kill him. That wasn't part of the plan. That was Shigaraki before he... Yeah. Sounds like Shigaraki. Anyways. So. What do you think he's gonna do now? Well, from what I can see, or at least think I know, he's going to try something drastic. Or, if he's going to be tactical about it, possibly, he's going to act as if this never happened. We still have Nejire, correct? Yes. Then again, I think that we should just execute her. She is far, far too dangerous to be kept alive. Yeah, execute the only person we can get answers out of. That would go over well, wouldn't it? You know exactly what I mean. Besides, your brother, well, how do you know he wasn't killed by the reality benders? He was. What? I saw it happen. He turned things back. And he got rid of that ball in his head. Ball? Her walking over and picking it up. Very, very carefully. She uses, well, the handcuffs to at least try and get it. If she touches this thing, it probably will not end well. It'll end with her on the ground this time, instead of him. Now, with that being said, I do hope you guys enjoyed, and have an amazing night. I will catch you guys in the next part.